this is normally what I do on a regular basis. This is me building encouragement to even want to talk. I'm supposed to talk about baggage and burdens and labels. And I still struggle to deal with my own. Ironic, huh? So I guess this is the part where I kind of like talk about emotional stuff, right? Cool. And normally a person that struggles with these type of things have this problem. You know, this is my thing. This is my life, my mundane, boring life. But it's not. It's not boring though, because I do a lot of different things. Outside of being a mom, I am a sister, a cousin, a friend, a godparent, a pet grandmother, a step grandmother. Like, there's a lot of things that's going on with my life. And it's crazy because a lot of people tend to say, like, you know, we don't really know what happened to this person, and we don't really know the life that they did. A lot of different things, because they're a person just like everyone else. And it's hard to like explain life in a way that may make other people understand. So emotional baggage unpacking. Before you move forward in life, you have to like unpack this metaphorical suitcase. And in that suitcase has a lot of like old clothes that's probably been sitting there and who knows how long. Or, you know, a picture or something that might, you know, be from something else. Or maybe baggage could be like the people that you're around and the lifestyles that they're dealing with. Or maybe your life can be someone who doesn't have much of a life and doesn't know how to be around people. A lot of people are going through a lot of different things. So we never really know what anyone's really going through or what they're experiencing. And it's hard to really understand what someone's day-to-day life is until you like really take a chance to look at yourself. Like, my biggest thing is like, people always think they know who I am or my life. That's my baggage. Like, my baggage, when I have discussions about baggage, burdens, and labels, like, my baggage is big on, like, a lot of people that come across my life and come across me or talk to people that might be connected to me in some way and say, well, I know her, I knew of her, or I knew this person. And it doesn't just necessarily have to be me. It could be anybody. Like, you know, we are so stuck in our own personal lives. I mean, I would assume a lot of us are in our own personal lives. Because it would be kind of weird to be in someone else's life all the time. But I guess someone needs to hear that. But we are all dealing with our own lives and we're all experiencing our own little things, and we don't know what anyone's experiencing and what they're going through, and we don't know how, you know, others may feel about anything. Because we're not going through we're not wearing their shoes. We're not carrying their book bag, their suitcase, you know, to get through life. Like, it's hard to understand life and the baggage and burdens you got to carry for others. And then on top of that, the labels. It's crazy about the labels. Like, labels could be so many different things. so many different things, because like my biggest thing with labels is good story to talk about. Baggage, burdens, labels. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I have so many. So and you know, we kind of ended up I ended up having like a really tough life. Like, life wasn't easy, and it wasn't like something that was, it was hard. And you know, dealing with my life, there was a lot of different aspects between different genres of areas of things that were going on in the family setting and the world that I was living in. You know, I had to be a child that was sheltered or reserved or put back, afraid. Afraid is an understatement for like baggage. An understatement. When I say an understatement, like I really mean like an understatement. Like, baggage for my childhood growing up left so many scars and wounds as an adult. Not that I'm saying that all of it is bad, because I didn't live a horror story, although it may have felt like it when I was a child. As an adult, I feel very blessed, and I feel very humble with the life, despite, you know, what may be going on in my life. You know, it's hard to live baggage and burdens with labels, with, you know, people or situations that don't work on the betterment of your life. Like, you know, you could live a life and be somebody completely different than what anybody had thought, because you're so reserved on the reality of who you are. You know, we as people, we hide. I did a series for this baggage, burdens, and labels. That's what I'm trying to figure out for you guys. It's like, I'm trying to figure out how to turn this thing into like a real life, like, baggage, burdens, and labels thing, where like you guys can show me if this is even helping anybody, because I struggle every day to try to be authentically me, be myself, be myself in the camera, be myself around others. Like, when I'm around my people that are like just me and my friends and my family that are like real close to me, then I'm a force to be reckoned with. But like, when I'm by myself and I have to do things like on camera, because like in front of a mass audience, like that's a little different, because that's a lot of energy that goes into that. And you know, to be overly overwhelmed when I'm like, it's crazy to say, like, I'm allergic to stress. Like, I guess like my body has issues or something, and it's like I can feel it a mile away. Like, when something's gonna be stressful and like my body starts to respond, I guess it's a new superpower that my body has created to protect me from something else that is trying to intrude in my body. And that could be another thing, you know, when it comes to baggage and burdens, because it's like, when you try to build boundaries for yourself, people don't always understand your boundaries. And then when you try to live a life where you're trying to set goals for yourself, not everybody respects your goals. And then, you know, everybody wants to poke and pry, you know, at the things that you're trying to do in your life to make it more complicated for you. And a lot of the time when people do that is because they struggle with their own lives, and all you can do for those people is like pray for them and ask that, you know, that source, they get saved. You know, they get saved somehow, because we're definitely times are changing, and people need to understand like the baggage and burdens that one may carry. Like, especially if you're a child of someone who already has all these baggage and burdens. I was definitely a product of that, you know, being brought up. Like, I came from a situation where a lot of my life I had to feel like I was a burden, or that, you know, I was baggage from someone else, and I had to carry the baggage of someone else and their lifestyle and who they were, and you know, the things that they did. Like that wasn't my life, that was your life, and or that was that person's life. But like, to be punished for your parents sins is like one of the biggest baggage and burdens to carry, because it's hard to be like the product of a child that has to carry the baggage and burdens and labels of your parents, and then have to go in society, in the world, and then get labeled by the society for the baggage of your and the burdens of your parents. And it was hard growing up as a child to have to avoid, you know, being experienced and subjected to a lot of that. Like, being myself was hard. It still is. Like, I'm struggling. I was struggling in the beginning of this, and now I feel okay, because I feel like there's a presence now where I feel like, obviously there's someone in the room, so now I feel like I can relate with others. Like, you know, there was moments in time where I felt like I had to isolate, stay to myself, be by myself, be isolated, be alone. And I used to hate my life. There were so many things about my life that were like, I was considered like the outcast. And there was a group of us that hung out, and it was called the Outcast Crew. And we used to just go, and we used to hang out with each other and walk the back streets to avoid. And those are the rough sides of the streets, man. When I tell you, them back streets are like, they were crucial. But we used to go to back streets because walking the main street wasn't going to be easy, because everybody knew who you know, my parents were. And it was like, damn, like, what's life going to be like this forever? You know, as a child, you don't know that life's not going to be like that forever. But when you're a child, you think this is forever, this is going to be life. And the baggage and burdens and burdens I have to wear, you know, the labels I have to wear for my family was really rough. And then there were so many crazy things that was happening within the family and within my own life, that it's like, to have to live your life as a child and be like, so what do I have to do, you know, in the world? I don't know what to do, you know, with the things that I'm being subjected to. It's like, I'm just a child living in this world. Like, I don't have no idea, and I don't get, there's no rules, there's no blueprints or a handbook that's going to give you an idea on how to live life. You kind of just have to live life. And that's the whole reason behind this book, is because I wanted somebody to feel like I could save them. You know, the idea that went into it at the time was, you know, I got inspired to do it by my fiance, which ended up becoming my husband, you know. And like, and the whole reason why this thing even became a thing is because I swear to you, I woke up one day, my baggage and burdens, right? I woke up that day and I said, I'm having a F that moment. I said, I'm tired of the BS. I don't want no more of this life. My kid was walking in. I was like, you too. I go lay down. I said, you too. And I said, I'm done with it. I'm over it. And I'm not going to deal with this. And I kind of just, I did my thing. I moved on with life. And I don't, when you release baggage and burdens, you kind of release like this, okay, so there was this spiritualist that I went to go see, and we became friends. And he used to tell me every time, he said, every time I see you, your energy is like this. And in my brain, I saw Ziploc, and I said, okay. I said, that means I'm very reserved. And he says, you're very, like, you know, to yourself. Yes, I'm a hermit. I've definitely, you know, made that very clear to a lot of people. My friends, my closest friends and families know that I'm a hermit. I don't really go anywhere, or do much of anything. And I'm kind of just, I like to be by myself, to myself, and do my own thing. I'm fidgeting as I speak because cameras are not my thing. If I could put like a screensaver on here and it's just you watching something, that'll be cool. I know you see all these orbs flying around me, but you know, to have to live life with the burdens and the baggages of others had made me so reserved and so afraid to be myself. And then the crazier thing is that to have to like really talk about yourself on camera, that's the hardest thing to do, because you're still trying to figure out yourself, because society placed so many labels on you that, you know, it was hard to shed away from the, you're going to, you know, when you're a child that's been brought up from constantly hearing the, you're going to be a particular person, you're going to be that person, and you're going to be that person. You're a child, you don't know any better. You think you're going to be that person, so that's your mindset. And distance in life, I ended up kind of just staying that mindset. And then after a while, I started to say, okay, well, maybe my life might go in that direction. I mean, I don't know, because everyone keeps saying that I'm going to be something that I don't even know what I'm going to be yet. Like, or maybe I should start doing, like, and then I was so, like, strong on not wanting to be this person and live this lifestyle and be this way, and that I became a monster. I became a neat freak. I became a strong person to the point where, like, I don't got the patience. I don't have the chill. I don't got the time for it. I'm very stern on what I say. I don't play with nobody because I don't like to be played with. You know, I don't have time for the games. That doesn't mean that I don't have my own insecurities, because I do. I'm human. Don't even give me on that subject, because we don't have much time, and you know, I don't have time for that right now. But you know, if you keep watching and watching me grow and get more comfortable to explaining and breaking down like what I know and how I understand the world, then cool. Like, thumbs up. I'll be seeing you again. I'll ask Indigo. And, you know, then I'll start definitely feeling more comfortable talking about the things that I experienced and talking about the things that I went through. Not to talk about deep into conversations of these things because it's personal, but, and out of respect of others, but, you know, a lot of the things I experienced were crazy, and the things that I experienced outside of that lifestyle, spiritually too, I was experiencing a lot of crazy things. I kind of had like a twofer on a life in a way. It's like I kind of had like the normal life where like it's just, what is this craziness, and real life, and then there was spiritual stuff happening to me that like I couldn't explain, and a lot of it felt like I did feel like I was crazy. I did feel like I was losing my mind, and I did go see a lot of therapy, and I was going through a lot of things that were scary, very scary. I still fight with my emotions to this day because I am an empath and I feel others. And so I can feel energies. So if I get emotional, it's because I'm feeling emotional things. Or, you know, something's going on that's making me feel I have to be emotional. Now labels, like, for labels for me, for the little bit of time that, you know, I have left with you guys, is, you know, labels for me is like a lot of what the world wanted for me ended up not being what became of me. Or the world had a lot of opinions of what was expected of me based on how my life was, what should have happened to me, or what I should have became. But I'm my own person with my own life. And I have to go through my own real things. And I fight with people on these situations. When I fight with others on you know, the situation with, when you know a person deep, deep, deep down inside. You had deep conversations with these people. You know personal things about these people. They let you in ways that they don't let others in. Because these people live in a shell. I'm a shell. I like to live in my shell. And I don't let a lot of people in. Because of baggage, burdens, and labels. And, you know, to have to transition this and a class onto something that I can't physically be one-on-one with you guys where I'm interacting, unless that's another thing. Like, you know, if I can have interactions, you know, with talking with others about certain things, like I can definitely talk about things, because there's a lot of things that life's hard, man. And without a blueprint, you're never going to understand life without something guiding you, someone pushing you in a direction other than yourself. Like, you have to want to do for yourself. And you have to put yourself as a priority in order to release any of the baggage, burdens, and labels that you may carry. It's hard releasing things that make us uncomfortable. It's hard talking about things that we don't like to talk about, because a lot of us haven't dealt with those situations yet. And a lot of us have, but they still hurt us, and they leave scars, which are burdens. You know, those leave wounds, deep felt wounds inside of us, that it's like, damn, like when you know you're having conversations and you're talking about a person and you're talking about a situation and you get emotional about it, it's because you're holding on to an umbilical cord. You're holding on to an attachment that you have placed there between you and this person, or you and this situation, or you and this group of people, whatever it may be. Like, when you burden yourself by giving yourself the baggage and then labeling yourself to be a person, a place, or a thing in a situation, whatever it may be, then you get yourself stuck in a whole lot of worms that you weren't ready to can and put in a jar. You know, you put yourself exposed to a lot of things that you're not ready to deal with and unpack. It's hard to unpack wounds and things that left you scarred. It's hard to unpack things that left you wounded. It's hard to unpack things that may not make sense in your life. You know, we are not easy people that are easy to understand. You know, a lot of us carry burdens and stuff that we will forever struggle to talk about. You know, me being a child, living with a parent that had a lot of, like, man, when I say like heavy baggage, man, the baggage is an understatement. That was like a war, and I don't know what. Like, living in my household, dealing with my own personal baggage, burdens, and labels was like a World War III with a tsunami, with a couple of Bruce Lee's, and little troll people that nothing. No offense, anybody. She's just a little lady, and she's a force to be reckoned with. But she had, if you're a parent, it's hard to like isolate what you're dealing with, and then your children, like how do you block off like what your children are exposed to? It's hard. There's no way to block off and from what your kids are gonna see what they're gonna see. They're gonna know what they're gonna know. They're gonna hear what they're gonna hear. Like, you can't help that your children are nosy, and you can't help that things happen that's out of control when it comes to your children. And especially when it comes to your own life, like, damn, like, half the things that happen in our life, we weren't expecting that to happen, or we weren't calling for that to happen, and it just kind of just happened. And a lot of our times, our lives will be like, okay, that's life. There's nothing we can really do about life other than live life and be happy with life, because that's all we got. Like, our lives and whatever happens within our lives. Our baggage is a lot of the craziness. Our baggage is a lot of the things that don't make sense in our lives. A lot of things we don't want to deal with. You know, there's a lot of things in our lives that we don't want to deal with, and we don't want to have to deal with when it comes to others. Like earlier with the dog, you know, I also have a cat, which is not my own. But I guess my children, instead of my children having children, they gave me animals. They're alive, they're healthy, they're well, they're fed, they're bathed, they're clothed. I think I'm a good grandma. But you know, we never know. Time will still tells. You know, but those are the baggage and burdens I have to deal with. Although they may be annoying, I love these little suckers, because when they're not around, I miss them. I do miss them. You know, they're baggage and burdens at the moment when it comes times when I don't have the time or the room or the space or the energy. Because then I start to feel some type of way about it, because I'm human and I feel some type of way about it. On an animal's perspective, like, sometimes I feel like I'm Dr. Doolittle, and like, if I talk to them, they understand me and I understand them. And who knows? You know, you never know, because energy is fluid, and they talk, not that they physically talk to me, but like they do like hand gestures and stuff like that. So I am assuming that they understand like who I am or what I am or what I'm even saying. Some of them act smart. Not burdens, man. A burden for me is more like having to deal with something that someone else did, and I have to kind of somehow deal with the consequences of that. A burden for me is when someone gets mad at me and because I don't have the answers. A burden for me is having to deal with the insecurity of being afraid. Like, so my children they're all different ages, they're adults, and they're all good kids. Even the hard-headed one. Say about 2 of them are probably hard-headed, but out of all of them, you know, they're good kids, and they try their hardest to, even though they like to give me a hard time, they care about what I think. And I don't think that they're doing the wrong things. I feel disappointed in some ways because I can see better in those areas. Even I know they know those areas. And it's the hard part of having to fight with that. Like, outside of that, like, it's the having to worry about your decisions and having to worry about your choices and things that you do and how you live life and the things you get yourself involved in. Like, being a parent's not easy, especially as a parent with adults. Like, oh, it's gonna get easier when they become adults. It does not get easier when they become adults. I think I panic more when they're adults because I cannot have them all under my same roof in my house under one spot, because I can't watch or keep after them and make sure that they're all safe and warm and protected. But at the same time, they're adults, and I have to respect that, they're people too, and we all have to live our own lives. Hey, it's hard, like, being a parent that has to be a parent to teenage kids, adult kids, man. Like adult kids is even rougher. Like you to have to, man, you know, a lot of us know like to have to be a parent to adult kids, the baggage and burdens and labels we got to carry for them as well. Like we're parents, but we're people too. Like we have our own lives and we want to live our own lives and do our own things. And a lot of the time people tend to like constantly say they know us. I think the only person that knows you perfectly is God, and God can see everything. But outside of that, like, people don't really know you until they really get to know you. Like, saying that I know you, I can say I know anybody. I know a lot of people. But, like, I don't really know people like that. Like, I don't really, like, I know my godson's mom to a point. I know my husband, which is someone I live with, which is next to me all the time. Like, I know you to a point. Like, I know my godmother. I know my grandmother. I know, like, my mom and my sisters and my siblings and my friends. You know what I mean? Like, we only know people for so much from what they're willing to tell. Like, with the Baggage, Burdens, and Labels series, when I try to turn it into a real-life thing with the class, I put a mask on the leader's face, and I call them the Redeemer. And the Redeemer has to go around the whole room and basically carry the baggage, burdens, or labels society has placed on others. That's a hard thing to have to replace baggage, burdens, and labels, you know, in a world where we have to look at it from a different perspective. Like, we are our own people, but at the same time, we have to look at others also, and we have to look at them and say, if they're acting crazy and stuff like that, okay, you gotta kind of, you know, well, that's a different story. You gotta, you kind of have to base judgment and look at the situation and be like, okay, is this person legit crazy? And if they do, like, offer them like there's a, you know, mental clinic. I got the number for you. Or like, you know, or like dealing with somebody who played crazy, like a person that doesn't want to take accountability or responsibility for their own lives. And then they place their baggage and burdens on you instead of them dealing with their own issues. Well, in the game that I played with the class, I make the Redeemer carry that baggage, that burden, and labels for them. So they write it down on a piece of paper. So for all of y'all that watching me, for whoever this is that watching me, like, grab a piece of paper and write down what you consider to be like a baggage, burden, or label. What is the world society placed on you that made you feel some type of way about yourself? How do you feel? What do you experience when you go out into the world and you don't know what to feel and you don't know how to present yourself in the world? Like, we don't know everything. Well, talk about it. Ask the world, like, to explain to you what they feel is you. Like, okay, so like, if you're out there in the world and you're saying, I need some opinions on me, and we're gonna play games. This might suck. I don't care how you feel about this. Don't even tell them that it's a game for you. You know, like, you basically take paper or something and you write something out where you want to know people's opinion on what they think of you. Then you can kind of get an idea on what the world sees as you as a person. And then you write out your story to yourself. And then you evaluate that story and you look at it, and when you do these type of things, take a pen and a different color other than the one you're writing with. So, like, write out your story in black, and then you're gonna literally take like a pen and you're gonna highlight it, or you can write, you know, underline it in blue. And then, you know, if for the rough patches, we're gonna take red and highlight it or circle it, and you're gonna start to point out all the things that look like a repetitive thing. So anything that's repetitive, They're going to highlight it in blue. I say that a lot. Or I feel this way a lot. And if you notice that you're getting aggressive or angry, you want to red flag that. What gets you angry? What triggers you? What pushes your button? Like, I was walking one day and I was going to get something to eat and I picked it up, and when I was walking back I tripped and I dropped the pizza and I was mad. Did you trip? Did you fall over something? Was your shoe untied? What was the situation? What's the problem? What's the problem? You got to point that problem out. You got to see where things have to change in your life, and you have to see the triggers, the people, the things that don't allow you to grow, and the things that don't allow you to become the version you want to be. Like, I could paint a horror story, but I don't want to do that. So, I was a child that had to be labeled based on the mistakes of my family, or because of these situations. It caused me to be a sheltered child, afraid to be in the world. Yet again, there's tons of people that come around me in the private and always say, like, when we're in groups alone outside of the camera, I'm supposed to be this leader or whatever. Even with the churches, okay. But I struggle to be in camera. I struggle to be around things like this. Like, if I was in a group without the camera, and I don't know what the issue is with the camera, but if I'm not in a group with a camera, and I'm in a group without the device, oh man, you get ready for all kinds of stuff to happen, because baggage, burdens, and labels is an understatement to the things that I'm about to do to you when I release you from whatever it is that I'm doing. It's just me transitioning in the classroom to on the camera. It's hard for me to be myself on camera because I've been a child who was always told to not be myself ever, like, period. Like, I knew a lot of things, and I felt a lot of things, and I saw a lot of things, and I experienced a lot of things, but I was never allowed to talk about any of it. That does a lot to you as a child, because you end up not being yourself at all. You hide and shy away from the things that should bring you love and peace. And it's scary for you to feel that way, because then you don't know how to be a person. And then you shelter yourself. You cancel yourself out from the world. That's the biggest baggage I can ever even say. Like, you cancel yourself out to the world, because you don't allow yourself to live based on the mindset that society and the world has put on you. And I don't mean world like outside world. That means like confirmation spirit. I'm so sorry. That means like your intermediate people. So you have like the labels that like the group of people that are around your circle, the people that like you keep close connections with. Then we have family. I'm so sorry again. Confirmation is, I'm sorry. So it's hard to break free from these labels that society places on you, because it's hard for you to be yourself. It's hard for you to become a real person in the real world and be like real existent, and not shelter yourself from like anything. To have to be your true self in front of a camera is the hardest thing to do, because you've been told to shut up and not be yourself for so long that when you try to be on camera and be yourself, it's an issue. Thank you. I am so thirsty. I'm talking. So 3:30. Okay, so we got 3 minutes left before I let you guys go. My journey with you guys is basically releasing my baggage, burdens, and labels. The things I feel uncomfortable talking about on camera. Not that I have an issue with talking about it. Segment, talk about it. You know, emotional baggage is basically unpacking, walking away to find yourself. Emotional burdens is to having a line between love and hate. Sometimes you just have to get uncomfortable for a while until you can become comfortable. You have to do things to make yourself uncomfortable before you can get comfortable again. And when you do that, trust me, you'll be blessed in the biggest way. Societal labels. I'm everything that I wanted to be, and nothing that society labeled me to be. And I didn't become the product of my environment. I observed it. And then I switched it around so I could tell the environment how to not be the product of the environment anymore. I hope that I can help to release, if not someone, many people's baggage, burdens, and labels. It's not easy. I still struggle. But releasing baggage, letting go of them burdens, and finding peace with those labels society tried to place on you is just one of the many steps in a multi-step of a lifestyle called a blueprint for life. Before we can understand the journey, we have to unrelease and let go. So it's cutting off the baggage, letting go of the burdens, and making peace with those labels so we can build new ones. I'm Ask Indigo, and you're watching me on the Small Business Networking Podcast. Bye.